This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good yawning this morning, Bahamas. It is Monday, 12th of April 2021, and you're on the clock with Erin Greene. On the clock, we engage organizations, institutions, social and cultural leaders, and ordinary people to better understand the impact of public policy, private sector development, and emerging social and consumer trends. On the clock, we have conversations that help us understand and navigate a rapidly changing Bahamas. Today's show is brought to you by the Department of Inland Revenue. We're very happy to have them as a sponsor of the show, and we remind you to go online and look for the information about the Real Property Tax Forgiveness Program. If you're a young person in a family of non-tech savvy people, take a look at it, get a sense of what is being said, and assist your family members in understanding it. We got a lot of people that need access to this information, but may not necessarily be tech savvy, may not be able to get online and navigate the way that a younger person may do. So please step up and help your family members become informed. So today is going to be an sort of open line, what's in the news day, because the newspapers are filled with stories. And I know everybody is looking for details about the huge blaze at Potter's Key. Well, I'm hoping tomorrow that we will have members of the Bahamas Dock Allied Vendors Association on with us to talk about what they have found after making an assessment. But I got some questions already lined up for that. Also, I want to say I really enjoyed the show on Friday. I want to say a special thank you to Shine, Lovato Sands, phenomenal rake and scrape artist. But I want to note that I forgot to say thank you to Cultural Experience Productions for providing that guest for last week's show and all of the guests on the Culture Fridays platform so far. The conversations have been inspiring for me. I hope they were inspiring for you and have led me to a number of ideas and potential projects and tentative partnerships. And I spent the weekend thinking about ways that we can grow our cultural product. I see I've got a text here. I am sorry, texter. I am not Levan. But you could ask me if I'm seeking to be a candidate for the PLP or DNA. And I'm going to tell you no. But text him back at 11 o'clock and he'll be on the air. So what else is in the news this morning? Like I said, it's an open line. I'm also very interested in this story in the Tribune. Now the headline says, 21-year-old mother jailed for false COVID test results. I'm very concerned about that. I'm not exactly sure why she was jailed yet, right? Like I want to determine, was she jailed because she was unable to pay the fine, right, attached to the offense? But let's put that part aside. Why are we jailing a 21-year-old mother for a false COVID test result? Surely there are better alternatives to this. So the first question out to the audience this morning is, do you think this mother should have been jailed? Do we have alternatives available that would have been more suitable for this offense? Why are we penalizing people in this way? I see we got a caller on the line, Kermit. Caller, you're on the clock. Good morning, and blessings to you and to yours.
Thank you. And much the same to you. And you know something? Uh, this is not my main point for calling, but I'll get to my main point later. What you said is right. Why would a 21-year-old get arrested for?
Well, no, the story says that she was jailed, right? And at the very end of the story, it says, as a result, Python was convicted and sentenced to 6 months behind bars. Yeah.
And you disapprove of that?
Well, here's what I am concerned about, right? Does the offense warrant jail time? And is the impact, right, is the effect of her incarceration, is that warranted given what the offense actually was? And then I have a second one, which is in the face of we could see a number of COVID breaches and the manner in which they were dealt with.
I see your point.
Yeah, is this appropriate? Is it fair? And is it a balanced application of the law?
Well, you know, we have mediocrity in just about every segment in this Bahamas. And something got to give whereby the immaturities would be able to stop, because we have children growing up, and everybody should be able or must set the right example in order for we to have a beautiful country. And that's what a lot of us are not doing, setting the proper example. A lot of us are very much indecent people, and it needs to stop. It needs to be changed. My main reason for calling you, right?
Yeah.
I think the government took down those illegal situations over
in Abaco.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, I've been calling them about illegal situation in Spence Street, off Mason Street, for years. You got person in Spence Street using a well for a toilet.
An outside toilet.
Well, they built a toilet over it, which we call a flush toilet over it.
Okay.
All of that going into the water table. And I've spoken to about environmental health, and nobody had done anything about it. Also, you have people squatting on people's land around here, right? Causing a lot of problems, all sort of illegal situation happening in that yard. And it seems as if the police scared to go in there and deal with it. You know, every so often I got to be calling the police. They're selling drugs on my walkway and in the front of my gate. Yeah, and I don't like that. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, they're criminals. A lot of them are criminals. Just came out of jail, goes to jail, and the police doesn't do anything about it.
So, Brayman, let me ask you a question. You think I see you're gone now. You think that the focus on the shantytown residents in Abaco is political because it doesn't appear as if we apply the same focus on shantytowns across the nation? Also, it feels to me like this is the root or a symptom of a larger problem, right? And that we have a housing crisis across the nation that manifests itself in various ways, right? In certain spaces, like family islands, which I think is about two things. It's about migration, and the island is a transshipment point, but it's also about a labor issue, right? Where possibly the employers of laborers who have a legal obligation to ensure that they have access to adequate and safe housing and government approved housing, right, are not being held accountable. But I want to talk about that as well. That's in the news because we know that yesterday the Prime Minister had a press conference talking about the housing program or the land access program for young professionals. And I have the question, is that appropriate in the midst of a housing crisis? But I see we got another caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock.
Good afternoon, Erin. How are you?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I just want to weigh in on the conversation about gathering as it relates to what's going on here in the country, right?
Yes.
Now, for the most part, we know that we, believe it or not, we're in the campaign mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we also in COVID mode, okay?
Mm-hmm.
COVID ain't going, or coronavirus ain't going nowhere no time soon, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Whether we vaccinate our population or not, we always going to be aware that this virus is going to be around for some time.
Right.
And what's happening politically, it's going to happen also. So I would say that you're going to see that. Person may not intentionally go there as to be in gathering, but you can have that. You can have that. You just need to. I'm not saying I am giving person the okay to just have these large gathering, right? Mm-hmm. But that is going to be okay. You just need to protect yourself, wear your mask, and be responsible. Because you could say, look here, no this, no, it can happen. Because persons are going out there, and they're gonna have to get within the community or whatever to just to. Mm-hmm. It can happen. We in the campaign war. We what's happening is this is something what's going to happen. Okay, we just need to be responsible and not being, when we say social distance, not being up in one another's space. Mm-hmm. Wear your mask and be responsible. No some PLP beating the effing and beating the effing the DNA and so forth.
So what? Let me ask you a question.
That is going to happen.
What about me? Right here, I am a radio show host and a political advocate, right? Mm-hmm. And I am really, chastising them, the political leaders, mm-hmm. and saying to them, look, how does it appear mm-hmm. to the wider public if you are engaging in these activities, right? Mm-hmm. And at the same time, the authorities are penalizing individuals for engaging.
Erin, I heard you, right?
Yeah.
But it's no comparison. Mm-hmm. If you go and take a look at the larger popularity, particularly in with a place named the Fish Fry, mm-hmm. you have large amount of persons on those scenes with no mask on, period. And I'm not talking about just young people. I'm talking about grown person. Mm-hmm. Just walking and I see one weekend it was like a drunken no morning. Everybody just patrolling, going no mask.
Yeah.
You have them to their party at home, mostly, no mask, okay?
So let me tell you the situation I'm concerned.
That's the difference
I
there.
see. No, I agree with you. There's obviously instances of people mm-hmm. who are engaged in social activity, right, mm-hmm. that are not following the protocols. Mm-hmm. And it's obvious that they're not really even thinking about them, mm-hmm. right? But last week I had a caller call in. He was very concerned because he was at a spot on Wolf Road. Mm-hmm. And at that spot, a lot of people hang out there. Mm-hmm. Now, when I say hang out, it ain't like me where I come from a suburb, right? Mm-hmm. I could go in my backyard and sit in my backyard and hang out. I could be in my house, like there's always a room I could be in alone in my house, right? Mm-hmm. And so it ain't like my kind of living, or I could go to my neighbors and we could sit in the backyard and there's only 2 or 3 of us. Mm-hmm. But these are typically people who don't have a space of their own, right? Mm-hmm. And they are outside of a bar. They may, some of them may be substance abusers, some of them may be underemployed or unemployed. Some of them may be what we call vagrants, mm-hmm. but they have a right to be outside of their homes, right? And this is like the only place that they sort of get to congregate or to get to sit with other people. And so what the guy said was that he felt not just embarrassed, but he felt harassed mm-hmm. by the way the police came into that space and treated them, right? Mm-hmm. And what he was saying was that he doesn't feel like other communities and other types of people get policed in the same way.
say, guess what? We like to say that, right? But it's how we go about, it's the ghetto. You can't compare the ghetto with persons who live in other particular area, like Old Cable Beach or some other places. We treat ourselves that way, so that's why police officers would treat us like wives. If you know you're supposed to have your mask on, why you ain't have your mask on and pretending like we in a normal main thing? You know what's happening.
Yeah.
Now, it's how you behave. If you had on, I bet if they had on their mask, right, when those persons come there, they might not do them nothing. But you'll never see that. And they say, and why they be treated that way? You ain't going to Cable Beach and see that. Are you going to see that Cable Beach?
No.
Cave Village or them other places, you're not going to see that. But if you go in the ghetto, you're going to see it all the time, right? But
right.
People just pretend like they just illiterate. If you know you're supposed to wear your mask, wear your mask. You see them all over the street with no mask on. You'll never catch that in another uptown area. You ain't going to see that, only over the hill.
Okay.
So just how you behave, that's how people treat you.
Absolutely.
Wear your mask.
Absolutely.
Simple as that. And what the politician needs to do when they're campaigning, carry the mask along with them.
Thank you.
And give it to the people, because it's obvious the people them don't have it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. In fact, what I want to recommend is that the COVID ambassadors travel with disposable masks, right? So if you encounter somebody without a mask or with a dirty mask, give them a new mask before you give them a ticket. Give them a warning. Isn't that why you created this new COVID protocol where you have to have ID on you? One of the reasons why you have to, I thought, because you had to have ID on you is because if you were encountered by a police officer, they could use their discretion and give you a warning and take your information. And if they encountered you a second time or multiple times, they would know by going through their notes that you had already had a warning and that perhaps stronger action is necessary at this point. But thank you very much, caller. I just wanted to interrogate whether there's a real class issue going on that we're not taking a look at. Because I agree with you, caller. People got to start using the personal responsibility. If you got a mask, you don't want to put it on, hang it up over one ear. Put both loops over one ear so it is next to you. And when the police come, put it on quickly, right? I know a lot of guys, they keep the mask on their elbow, right, when they're drinking or they're smoking a cigarette. So when it's time, they could just slip it off quickly and put it on their faces. I've got a text here, and it says, hi, that story is in The Guardian. Thank you. I found it. I had the pages folded over. I was looking at another story in The Guardian. And then I have a text following that says, Miss Greene, what if it was a man jailed? Would it make a difference? Well, it wouldn't make a difference. If it were a man and he was presumed to be or known to be the main caregiver of the children, then I would say it's the same thing, right? If it's a first-time offense, I would say it's the same thing. It's not because she is a woman, it's because she is a mother. That is what concerned me greatly. And the second question I had was, if we can put ankle bracelets on people who commit serious offenses like murder and attempted murder, why couldn't this individual be fitted with an ankle bracelet as opposed to being sent to jail? And here is another consideration, right? Why are we sending people to jail for COVID offenses or breaches of COVID protocols, and at the same time, we are releasing people from prison. We are pardoning people because of COVID, right? And the determination that if there are people who can be released, let's release them in an attempt to reduce the number of people in prison. But thank you for that intervention. You know, it is a very important question, and I wonder I raised it continually at the beginning of the state of emergency. How is it that we are charging people for not being at home or not being sheltered in place when they have no place to shelter in. Anyway, caller, there you go. Kermit, I see we got a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock.
A pleasant good morning, Miss Greene.
Good morning, Sparky. How you doing?
I just pray that you and your family had a beautiful and a safe weekend.
Absolutely. You know what we did, but Sparky, I got some sad news and some condolences. You know the great Basil Albury, right?
Mm-hmm.
The great Basil Albury passed recently. I want to send condolences to his family. His family is my family. And I know you know, Sparky, I know you know everybody and everything. When my father died 30 plus years ago now, Uncle Basil, stepped in and let me know that I is your uncle, I is your family, And I always remember that. And, the Albury family always welcome us into their fold. And so we had a pretty good weekend, but we sit, in that sadness that Uncle Basil is gone.
Well, I would like to say, may his soul rest in peace. Like you say, I know everybody. I'd like to switch that around a little bit different to take a yell than pinky toe. I think it's more that everybody knows Sparky.
Mm-hmm.
I think I is the most important one.
Maybe.
Yeah, I is the competent authority. I bigger than the Prince of Wales and Edinburgh.
But now look here.
I am that I am. I am the Son of God.
Sparky, faith without works is dead. So
Yeah.
I gonna need you to document these things.
I are waking. I made a comment of it. I said I talk like Raymond sometimes. I are waking, Raymond, tiny jokers. But anyway, like I told you the other day, if you could give me some time, like just give
Pumpkin Eater in Bremen?
No problem. They my boys. We've been around before, but talk show.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, what I was trying to say is I had another friend of mine, a past, a long friend of mine from the GHS and the Fort Hill. The great architect Ben Albury passed away also.
Oh,
And
condolences.
I was informed. I didn't even know Ben had passed.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and tall and slim. We played volleyball together long years ago. So many of my friends have passed since this COVID came down. It just seems that when you die now, everybody knows. When you died a little while ago, only your friends knew. But now, if you die from bucking your toe down, the whole of the country knows because you died from COVID.
Yeah.
And I want to say also another special happy birthday to a friend of mine that had thrown his birthday yesterday. The great Autry Newbold. We call him Big Bucks. He invited us all up Prince Charles Drive, and his family and his daughters and grands and all of them was up there. We having fun. And I must say, when I arrived, everybody all out, oh, Jesus, Sparky Weeks. I said, tell you all, it might be his birthday, but I'm the important one around here. I love this country so much. I am sick and tired, Miss Greene, what's going on around here. They coming around pulling people who have a little backyard party, coming in your backyard, asking if you got any Guinness and every day. If you ain't got no Guinness, they lock you up. If you got the Guinness, they say, okay, you'll enjoy yourself.
Now that is class warfare.
You go down to Arawaki, anywhere from Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. You can't even find parking space from what the place name? Fort Charlotte, Haynes Oval, the Western Esplanade, and people down there, no mask.
Wow.
Remember when fellow was fighting Sugar Ray Leonard, and the boxer say no mask?
Man,
You know what that means in Spanish? That means I can't take no more.
I got you. Man,
Down the fish fry, people all over, young people drinking, smoking, no mask, and the police station right there. How come they ain't bothering nobody around there?
I got you, Sparky.
They coming in people's backyard where 10 people is, and if you don't get them some Guinness, they can lock you up.
Okay, we got to cut it right there, Sparky. Thank you very much. I tell you what, though, people are very concerned that the law is not being applied equally or equitably. And I just want to make a note that the Vendors Association at Arawaki made a point months ago, and they said to the government and publicly, listen, we may need you to step in and enforce greater restrictions because we are unable to police both the customers and some of the vendors out here. But thank you for that, Sparky. And let's go to that caller. Let me challenge you to document it, because I believe you. You know everybody, and everybody know you, and we need those stories. Caller, you're on the clock.
Hey, Ms. Greene.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Just calling to make a correction.
Yes, sir.
The great Ben Albury, the architect, did not pass. That was his younger brother.
Okay. You hear that, Sparky? It was his younger brother that passed. And thank you for sharing that. We shall not speak death on anybody who is still with us. Thank you very much, sir. One of the things I want to know, what are the police doing? Why weren't you all out on Porterski making sure they had more than one fire hydrant out there? Boy, I got plenty of questions about Porterski, but I'm trying to be a little calm and wait until I have members of the association or I could get a little more information, because I don't want anybody to think I'm being cruel when I ask these questions. I have another text here. Erin, that last caller is so sensible. She made some good points. As a matter of fact, these politicians can have masks printed with their party's logo. This will send a message to others that the particular party's members are COVID conscious and responsible. Thank you, texter. Thank you for following that sensible woman call with your sensible text. And in fact, I want to say that I saw one party or the other advertising or sharing information about color-coordinated tennis that were for sale for their party and for their campaigning activities. And I want to say, yes, you should have sensible walking shoes, but y'all ain't supposed to be just road. Just mask. Now, that's the type of slogan I like. Just mask. Imagine if all of the parties printed masks with their logos on it, encouraging their supporters to wear masks and promote the party at the same time. Bessie, I got another caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Greene. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Morning.
Yeah, Ms. Greene, the disparity in the justice as far as the COVID protocols is visible. I don't need to comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
Politics wouldn't save us. I see Dave got off and calling the science, whatever, right? But these people, with the smartphone, right? I figure we should be smarter or more knowledgeable, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, the lady who called, she made some points about the mask, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wearing the mask, right? But walking alone or being alone, you shouldn't have a mask, wearing a mask all day, not breathing in the air. Hence, hypoxia and hypoxemia. One is the shortage in the blood, one is the shortage of oxygen in the cell. So we are all ignorant. And so there was a study done with the Syrian mice, compartmentalized, right? Wearing masks. And so there was with surgical masks. So there was a transmission decrease of 67%, right?
Wow.
So we know that wearing masks inside a closed environment in COVID, I'm not going to deceive the public, it is helpful, very helpful. And that was only with a surgical mask, that was a 67% reduction. So imagine with an N95 mask, you'll have a higher reduction rate. So there's no need for medical slavery to tell me I need to do this and I need to do that. When we haven't done it, as a matter of fact, I know we haven't done our own mice studies. This is why this is scary for me. And what is scary for me too, Erin, is the fact that the sheep, I'm surprised that they're not fed up with this mommy and daddy government. Mommy tell you do this and then daddy do this and then, you understand?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous, man. We're not going to get anywhere because the truth is not being told about the transmission dynamics, and we're just breeding fear, and we're creating a medical slavery paradigm, and everybody's running with it, calling the police on one another. They can't. They're naive in their thoughts. They can't see this is a social engineering. This is what it is. In certain European countries, people are allowed to go and walk their dogs by themselves. This is what I was telling Juan from the daybreak. It was no need to say nobody on the beaches, nobody this and nobody, because I'm out by myself in isolation. Curfew shouldn't be for me. This is what first world thinking is. This is why I'm saying that these people don't know what they're doing, because they're not giving logical thoughts to this situation. Everybody should be running their own paradigm. You adhere to this global paradigm, and we can't be doing what other countries do, because everybody's in a different financial status. Have a good day, man.
Listen, thank you, number 52. Let me tell you where I agree with you, because I always love the information that you share. We should be doing our own research. We should be using the professionals we have and the technocrats and technical skills we have available to us in country to do this work. we also need to divert resources, both money and technical skill, to these people in a unit where we can begin to have these conversations. Like you said, it's not a one-size-fit-all method, because the method applied in a global north or a developed country has a different economic impact in the small island developing state. I see I got a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock.
Hey, morning, Miss Greene. How you doing this morning?
I am good, thank you. How you do?
I am highly blessed. Okay, Erin, let me ask you a question now. Just your opinion now. Just give me your opinion, please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the emergency order basically is up, God's willing, next month. Am I correct?
I think so.
Okay. Now, we had an uptick in numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Follow me on this now. So do you feel that the emergency order would be extended even though that we have the vaccine in country?
Oh, yeah. The emergency order is going to be extended. That's my opinion.
But Ms. Greene, I was talking to someone this morning, right? What sense does it make if you already have the vaccine here, right? And so
What sense does it make to extend the state of emergency?
Yes, ma'am.
And the COVID restrictions if the vaccine is here?
Right.
So there's two things. First of all, we haven't completed the vaccine process. So we have, I think I read, we have about 15,000 people
already vaccinated.
Now, that means that they've gotten the first dose of a 2-dose vaccine, right? That's what it means. So we haven't completed the vaccination process yet. The second thing, given what the state has said, they are attempting to achieve herd immunity, which means that we need to get somewhere between 70 to 90% of the population vaccinated. We're not even near getting 25% of the population with one dose yet. So that's another reason why I think even though the vaccine is here, it's going to be extended. The third point is the uncertainty around the virus and the vaccine, right? And so yeah, go on. And quickly, I got another caller. Go on.
Sorry, but a prominent doctor in Grand Bahama, he sent a voice note. I don't know if you had an opportunity to listen to it. And he gave his
opinion,
and his,
as a doctor,
as a doctor, and especially as someone who took it, and I think was one of his family members. But at the end of the day, Ms. Greene, to be honest with you, I told the person this morning, right, that this emergency order will continue on. The simple fact is because we in a country where there is. You ever heard the saying that where there is no vision, the people will perish? And this COVID-19 has basically ruined the world. I don't like to hear people talk about, what's going on in the world. I live in the world, but I live in the Bahamas. I went about this 21/7 or these 700 islands. Well, they don't sell a couple, so it ain't 700 no more. I remember where I live and where my people live.
Yeah,
I'm not interested in what even happened in Miami, which is close to us.
Yeah,
I'm interested in what happened in the Bahamas, and I think that most Bahamian people are really dealing with not going against the restriction orders, but a lot of people that I speak to, prominent people in this country, I don't think they go into this thing again. Tell me.
Well, I tell you what it is. People are frustrated with the uncertainty, the lack of information, and the lack of a framework that they could use in the absence of direct information to navigate the road ahead. That's all it is. People are a bit frustrated, and we're working on that. I got to go to a break, and when we come back, I'm going to get back to these texts and call. I see you on the line. Please call back. I think it'll be worth it. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You're tuned into 96.9 FM. We'll be right back after this break.
For the past 33 years, Great Commission Ministries has been defending the poor and hurting, feeding the hungry, and sheltering the homeless. We invite you to support our Live to Give program and make a difference in these challenging times. Become a donor by giving a one-time annual gift or a monthly donation of $50 or $100. Call Great Commission Ministries at 325-5801 for more details. Or visit our headquarters at 237 Wolf Road. Join Live to Give today. This public service announcement is proudly sponsored by this radio station.
Have an outstanding real property tax bill? Take advantage of our Real Property Tax Forgiveness Program. Bring your account to zero and receive a 50% discount on your outstanding tax and surcharge past 180 days. Or get a payment plan. Make a 25% deposit on your outstanding tax, receive a 100% waiver on the surcharge, and pay the difference within 36 months, interest-free. Contact the Department of Inland Revenue at 225-5778 or email us at rptforgive@bahamas.gov.bs. Offer ends May 31st.
In life, there are always challenges. Today, we find ourselves having to be more self-sufficient, socially aware, and technically savvy. At J.S. Johnson, we are committed to our customers by providing cost-effective insurance solutions. No matter what your insurance needs, we will always be here for you. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com. J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers, giving you peace of mind.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good morning, Bahamas. It is Monday, the 12th of April, 2021, and you're on the clock with Erin Greene. Remember, today's show is brought to you by the Department of Inland Revenue. Also, remember, we're streaming live audio and video on GuardianTalkRadio.com. You can listen in on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or Flow Channel 612. You can download the Guardian Radio app for your Apple or Android smart devices. Or you could listen to our audio feed or watch us on our video feed right there on the Guardian Radio app. You can also text us on the Guardian Radio text line. That's 422-4796. 422-4796. Standard text rates apply, and that's powered by BTC. And our call-in numbers are 323-6232, 323-6232, 325-4316, or 326-4259. I see we got a caller on the line. You're on the clock.
Good morning, Erin.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I mean, Miss Greene. Sorry, but I thank God for life for you. Good morning to your listeners all over the world. Miss Greene.
Yes, sir.
I think you to say something like an open line, but
yeah,
but I appreciate that, and I enjoy listening to you, especially when you be talking about the foodies and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I enjoy that, and the culture and the seed and the growing stuff. And what I wanted to find out from you, the commercial just now, where I think is I think that's Bishop Hanchel, them who's like help people out with the food and the groceries and stuff.
Yeah, the food distribution.
Yeah. Maybe, I know you speak up with a lot of people and you might know more, you might could educate us out here. I wonder if we're getting value for money, this thing with the government, so they spending either $15 or $30 million every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know from you, do you know if people like Bishop Hanchel are being used to distribute, to get it to the people who really need it? Because I believe he's connected to the people them who will need.
Yeah.
Can you get those people? No, don't bring them on. No, that don't make no sense. Just let's try, see as much as we can help them to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. Because $15 million might not be a lot to some people, and to some people they might say that's a lot of money. But I just want to make sure for the $30 million or the $15 million for the government claim that they still spending, and I think it's needed. I want them to continue doing it, but I just want to make sure we're doing it the right way. Are we getting value for money?
Right.
And people like Great Commission, are they being used to distribute it? I'll hang up and listen. Keep up the good work, Miss Greene.
Listen, absolutely, and thank you. Bishop Hanchel, though, I think he's on the ground, and that's the person you got to have on your team. Now, when I say that's the person, you got to have his team on your team, because we know that he's a team. We know that his wife works with him, integrally and intimately, but they have their fingers on the pulse. They are on the ground. They know the logistics and dynamics on the ground. Another point you made, I thought it was so important. Are we getting value for money? And what are the things that we can do to ensure that we are? For instance, it's vegetable season, it's grow season, right? And I know with my experience with tomatoes that there's still tons of tomatoes going to waste. And they're going to waste because we haven't created the systems to ensure that they don't go to waste, right? We have bottles because we know one of the major bottle companies had stopped recycling bottles, so the bottles are available, but the bottles are not available immediately for processing tomatoes, for bottling tomatoes, right? They have to be collected, they have to be sanitized and stripped, they have to be stored, and they have to be distributed or accessible to the people actually doing the work. Do they have the equipment available to cap the bottles, right? And to prepare the bottles properly? Do people have the kitchen space? And so one of the ways we could have been ensuring that we get the best value for money is taking some of that money and maybe setting up a commercial style kitchen so that we could capture the food before the local produce before it goes to waste, process it in a way that is accessible or usable by the average person in need, right? So maybe somebody can't take a case of tomatoes one time and use them, but they could take a case of tomatoes that have been processed and bottled and store them on a dry, hot shelf for a short term of time. And that way we know that they're getting access to healthy, we know they're getting access to local, and we know that we are saving money and not wasting money and resources. I got a text here that says, let's start at the beginning. Attempted bioterrorism is not a serious offense, Erin. And so I think that person is responding to my critique of the woman being detained. See, here's how I think about it. First of all, when you say bioterrorism, there has to be an intent there, right? Like the young lady said, she took a test and the test expired. So she may have been under the impression that she was still negative. See, I get your point, but here's my comparison. We had a story of an individual that we know flew into Grand Bahama with a positive COVID test in hand. And they were allowed to enter Grand Bahama. And shortly thereafter, we saw a spike in numbers in Grand Bahama. Now, I cannot prove a cause, a direct link between that person entering Grand Bahama with a positive COVID test in their hand and the subsequent spike. I'm not saying that there's a link. What I'm saying is that person was not penalized. That person wasn't sent to jail, right? We had an entire funeral, right? A police funeral broadcast from the Royal Bahamas Police Force official Facebook page. And the Commissioner of Police indicated, as far as I'm aware, that it wasn't an authorized event, but it is what it is, right? And what I am saying is the application of the law unfair? Because we've had a number of serious breaches that have not been treated in the same manner. The person goes on to say, your personal situation is not a matter for the court. Justice is blind and is irrelevant to a case before the court. I understand what you're saying. And then they say, whether you have a house or not, it is not our business either. We are not communists. Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, texter. See, the government does have an obligation to ensure that everyone in the country has adequate to safe, affordable, and government-approved housing. See, that's why when tourists come in on a tourist visa, right, and they overstay a visa, right, what the government says to them is, look, you gotta go home because you don't have nowhere to live. Your hotel stay is finished. We can't have you in the Bahamas living on the streets, just couch surfing, bumming from one house to the next. We as the government have an obligation to make sure that you are safe while in our country. Surely the government's obligation to its own citizens is greater than that. Another text, hi, Ms. Greene, I so mad. This morning, major blockage at the light by the mall. Lights off, no police in sight. Where are they? We called for help and mobile division 1,000 yards away. Not one mobile bike cop there to help. Well, you know, you got me with this one. This is a particular frustration. First of all, the Marathon is that's one of the major intersections in the town. There are already massive traffic breaches there every single light cycle. If I worked for the Royal Bahamas Police Force, traffic division or not, because every officer is a traffic officer, I would post myself at that intersection. I'd be so on the job, my family would have to come and kidnap. You'll be see reports in the paper, police officer kidnapped. And then the updates say, breaking news, not to worry, that was her auntie and her mummy come and kidnap her because she gained the people them too much ticket. Rev Analytics did a survey at that light and said that if the police actually enforced the infractions, they would have millions of dollars. It's unbelievable. And like you say, the traffic division, just up the road, on the hill. We've got to do better, Royal Bahamas Police Force. I see we got a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock.
Good morning, Ms. Greene. Ellen Johnson.
Good morning. How are you?
Ms. Greene, in regards to the lady, to the food program, the food processing, the COVID regime after 1 year, have you seen beyond the soundbite governance? Have you seen anything that functions or anything in this country run by government or otherwise that you could pick up a paper or even get a clear, concise strategy as to where it is and where it's going to be and how it's going to be corrected and what resources are going to be put to it?
Boy, look here. I can tell you what, there are one or two shining examples, right? Like, I go to government ministries and agencies, there are individuals and like units that are just really performing well, right? But the overall system is so problematic that what they're doing doesn't really impact the larger space. But I will tell you this much. One of the reasons I reached out to the Department of Inland Revenue for sponsorship for the show is to build a relationship with them and a platform to discuss the work that they're doing in that department. But let me tell you why, because I had to interact with them directly over the last few months. It's some work that I was doing, and I found that they are working. Everybody in the space has an integral sense of what the space does, what's required of them and their job function, and what may be required of them outside of their job function to make the space work.
So essentially, they are functioning in spite of the chaos. And so if efficiency comes in, then our productivity would essentially go up.
Right. But what I'm hoping, though, C. Allen, is that they are a model, right? And that they're continuing to build on that model, and that we could use that model for other agencies and departments and public service units to improve what they're doing.
Yeah, but this is where leadership comes in, right? Because leadership, leadership sets the pace, with a visionary example of how things should be, and cohesively how they should come together. And so even when you look at it, like, for instance, you have the development of the Bahamas, and I hear to talk about the tours, about the cruise ship, right, where they take the position, they says, since you don't know what is going to happen, we just want you to close your eyes and imagine the possibilities. Make believe, that you will be participant. Make believe that it'll have an impact in your life and everything else. And so it's like you just kind of wonder, are we aware of the rapidly changed global environment where the competitive nature around the globe is changing, and what we did before is no longer relevant or would allow us to sustain ourselves and even our dependency on others externally, telling what we need internally and recognizing that for decades what the foreign people have told us that we need has not worked yet for us today. I hope we just change the paradigm and our mindset that understand that, yes, leadership comes from amongst us, but if you believe in a country of 400,000 people, 250,000 adults, that we can't find capable individuals to turn this country around, then we are truly in for a rude awakening going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, C. Allen Johnson. Just very quickly, what you made me think of, I often talk about that, and I use sort of tourism as the example, right? And that traditionally we have allowed a foreign direct investor, right? We have allowed a foreign direct investor imagination, a global north imagination, a European imagination to define what our tourism product is, right? We have not had the agency or the power to imagine it ourselves, right? And because we are relying on these people to tell us what our product is, we never ever draw to our own experts, right, to create that product. Because it's their product, it's their thing. But we have the power to imagine our own product. We have the power to imagine our own country as we want it to be and then create it. And we have the talent to do it. So I got another text here. Good day, Miss Greene. Look what one little storm caused. Imagine if a hurricane came. Nassau would be devastated. You must know that I walked in my yard this morning and cried a small cry as I found 3 big mango and 15 small mango scattered on the ground. So I hope everybody had watered their mango trees. Continue to water your mango trees. Give the tree the water it needs so the sap could hold the fruit firm on the tree in the midst of these winds. Good morning, Erin. The government is trying to deal with this shantytown issue, but why are the courts always seemingly fighting against the government? That's what lawyers are supposed to do, and it's not fighting. It's using the courts to determine the situation and what should be done. Erin, I've never seen so much bills passed in Parliament, but the people in the country are no better. These bills are not helping people, at least not poor people. Well, they don't help us if we don't know what they are. We got to know what they are. Good morning, Erin. For God's sake, why don't people stop saying in country? The wording is in the country. I say in country. I can try. Thank you very much. Erin, it will be interesting to see if all these people who have been calling and speaking out against vaccines will refuse to get it now that one is available. That's another talk for another day. Good morning, Erin. Can the young lady appeal this jail time sentencing? I'm hoping so. Erin, I love your optimism. I may not agree with your comments, but you always make an attempt to provide solutions. Even when the times seem darkest, you can see a light. For our country to ever move forward, we need a collapse of the 2 major parties and their ideology. We need a Bahamas First mentality, not party allegiance and separatism. Thank you very much, Texter. I got to leave on that note. Listen, what my people them show me is there's always another day with your God on your side. So always be optimistic. Always believe in yourself and the power of other Bahamians to get this thing right. I really got to go. Thank you for texting in. You guys keep that optimism up. Stay tuned and keep showing these people you want to be a part of your country, whether you're in country or out the country. Have a great day, Bahamas. Lee Van Miller is up next with Unleashed.